I received my brother's wedding announcement in the mail. I've never seen his wife before, and apparently neither has he. I almost missed it altogether, buried as it was under all the junk mail and pre-approved credit card offers. The announcement was printed on a 7 by 5 inches piece of white cardstock. The right side featured a photo of a couple, while the left bore a simple message in a plain font: "Just married. David and Emma. June 6th, Acadia." I read that strangely unceremonious message twice as I stood in front of my mailbox, trying to recall how I knew the couple. The only David I knew was my brother, who was not only single, but perhaps the most single man I've ever known. I looked over to the photo of the happy couple, and I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that my jaw dropped. The man in the picture was, in fact, my younger brother. He was strolling down the beach, hand in hand with a young woman, both of them caught mid-laugh. He gazed adoringly at the woman, at Emma, I guess, who was covering the top half of her face with her free hand. I thought it was strange that she'd be obscuring her own eyes in a wedding announcement photo, but the card itself was so strange that I didn't dwell on her pose. The announcement was either a prank, which would have been remarkably out of character for my humorless sibling, or David had subverted my every expectation and eloped. Once I got past the initial shock of the card, I went back inside, tossed the junk mail, and gave David a call. It was evening where he was, but not so late that he would have been asleep. He picked up after 6 rings. "Well, mazel fucking tov," I told him, squinting down at the woman's face. "Huh? Who's the lucky gal?" He paused, clearly trying to puzzle out my question. Then, "What the hell are you talking about, man?" Okay, so it was a prank. If he had secretly gotten married and wanted to hide it from his family, then he wouldn't have mailed me an announcement. From the confusion in his voice, I figured he wasn't in on the joke. It sounded like one of his friends pulled one over on him. I explained the situation, then sent him a photo of the card. Instead of laughing it off like I expected, David got so quiet I thought the call had dropped. He eventually said he had no idea who Emma was, nor who had sent me the card. Sure, some of his friends were pranksters, but how would any of them have gotten my address without David's knowledge? He said he'd ask his friends about it, and requested that I see who else had received the wedding announcements. Up until that point, I'd still thought of the card as a harmless joke, but the severity of David's reaction put me on edge. Maybe there actually was some woman in his life that, for whatever reason, he didn't want people knowing about. After the call, I texted my parents and a few of our family friends. One of my old neighbors had indeed received a card and seemed a little disappointed when I revealed it was only a prank. My parents checked their mailbox upon my request, and only then did they find the announcement. Thank God I called before they could discover it on their own. I genuinely think my mom would have had a heart attack. So far, those are the only 2 households that have received the cards, and I found it bizarre that David's friends knew either of those addresses. Before I fell asleep, I texted David my update. He said that he hadn't yet found the culprit and planned to continue his search in the morning. Again, I was somewhat perturbed by his seriousness. Was I missing something? I spent the next few hours trying to figure out who his bride could have been. In doing so, I quickly started to feel like every other woman on earth was named Emma. There were so many significant women in mine and David's lives who bore that name that sorting through them all seemed pointless. There was, for example, our childhood friend and neighbor who David harbored an unrequited crush on for years, until her family moved away. There had been a tragic incident at our high school, in which an Emma in David's year fell headfirst behind some lockers, dying from positional asphyxia. I had dragged David along to a rager at an Emma's house in college, which had ended in both of us spending a night in jail for public intoxication. Apparently, my life was just one big stream of Emmas, and none of them seemed plausibly linked to the marriage announcements. Now, here's the part of all this that I'm still struggling to make sense of. The night after I called David about the card, I woke up in the middle of the night to my phone ringing. I checked the caller ID and saw that it was David. I assumed he was calling me about the stupid prank, and part of me wanted to ignore him until the morning. But then again, he could have been having some kind of emergency, so I picked up the phone and grumbled "what" into the mic. There was silence for a few seconds, and then I was shocked to hear a woman's voice on the other end. "Hello," said the voice, quiet and slow and unmistakably feminine. I sat up in bed. "What? David? Who is this?" I double-checked the screen and confirmed it was in fact David's number. Another long pause, and then, "Yes, this is David's apartment." After that, the caller hung up. Disturbed, I called David back immediately, but no one picked up. I sent him a text asking who had just called and called him 3 more times. No one picked up, and I was starting to panic. Yeah, I know. The most likely explanation was that he simply had a woman over, but something didn't feel right. I guess David's paranoia was rubbing off on me because I was so weirded out that I actually phoned David's buddy Mike, who lived in his same apartment building, and made him do a wellness check for me. When Mike got to the apartment, my brother was asleep inside, perfectly safe and sound. He didn't have anyone over, and there were no signs that anyone had broken into his apartment or messed with his phone. And yet, I hadn't imagined the call. At least, not entirely. According to the phone logs, there definitely did have to be an outbound call from David's phone to mine. He had no memory of calling, and even if David had a history of sleep-talking, which he doesn't, the voice certainly didn't sound like a man impersonating a woman. I'm at a complete loss. I tried giving the card a more thorough look this morning, trying to see if I'd glossed over some clue. The longer I stared at the woman in the photo, the more creeped out I got. Why was she covering her eyes? If someone had gone through the trouble of creating fake couple photos, why not give Emma a more natural pose? Frankly, I could only look at the marriage announcement for a few seconds at a time before I had to put it down. Maybe that's why it took me so long to realize that the woman's mouth had been flipped upside down. Emergency alert. Do not look outside your windows. Emergency alert. Warning. This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. Citizens of the world, lock all doors. Close all of your blinds. Do not go near any windows. Do not look outside. Do not leave your house. Stay in a room with no windows. Gather what supplies you can. Turn all of the lights off and do not open the door for anything. When I first heard it, it didn't even sound real. It sounded fake, like something in a horror movie. But it was an emergency, so I decided I probably should do what they tell me. I grabbed a flashlight, pillow, my phone, charger, food, and basic other stuff to keep me entertained while this stuff happened. I had no idea what was going on, but once I got into my bathroom and got comfy, I texted my parents asking them if they got the alert. They also did. They said, "Citizens of the world." Did they actually broadcast that to everyone in the world? I asked myself. So I texted an internet friend that lives across the world, and they said they got it too. Same exact message. And to be honest, it's kind of scary. They tell you what to do, but not what's going on. And people are scared of that. 20 minutes later. Emergency alert. This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. Unknown creatures have been knocking on people's doors and been killing people that open the door. There is 5 major hotspots: Washington, D.C., Tokyo, Toronto, Moscow, and London. They have been located all around, but it seems as if they are attacking those first. This is an invasion. Stay in your rooms. Do not open any doors. Do not look outside. They can kill you instantly with just a look. May God help us all. Emergency nuke sirens are going off. Tornado sirens are going off. What is going on? Is this a prank? How can an invasion be real? Are aliens real? How can I even comprehend that? I had car alarms going off. I hear things being destroyed. They are here. They are killing. It sounds like a war zone out there, but without any guns. What can the government do? Just shoot them? But they would die looking at them. There's no possible way we could ever survive this. We're going to die. I text my parents, but no answer. I text my brother and sister. No answer. I start to panic now. What if my family is gone, and all I can do is listen to other people's families get murdered? The nuke sirens have started again, and they are very loud, shaking my whole apartment. I wonder what the other people in my building are thinking. Probably like me. This is it. This is the end of the world. Everyone on this planet will die. I hear a knock on my door. I don't answer it. I hear someone screaming for me to open it. I mean, it sounded human. Should I open it? No, that would be stupid. Emergency alert. This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. The extraterrestrial are attacking every major city in the world. There are a lot of them. We have not found out what they want. Stay inside. Millions, if not billions, are dead. Stay inside. It's as if the government have given up now. There's no way to fight, and these messages are less helpful each time they come on. If billions are dying, then I don't know how we can survive this. I mean, I have so far, but it doesn't sound like for long. I hear buildings being destroyed. I hear cars being destroyed. My building has been hit a few times. I'm hearing my world crumble before me. At this point, there's no reason to hope anymore. There's so many dying, and there is so much chaos, they will get everyone. I would love to know what one of these things looks like, but if I see them, I die. I hope someone takes a picture, and if we do survive, I want to see it. I want to see what's killing us. But the end is nowhere near, and I don't even know how many people we have left. Should I just kill myself? Maybe I should die before they get me. I don't want to die by those things. Plus, what if I do survive and get survivor's guilt? Then there's no way I... Emergency alert. This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. The extraterrestrial have left, and left billions of people dead. If you are alive, please tap the button on your phone now. If on a radio, tune to 104 and state your name and city. We will update you in 20 minutes. There's no way I would want to live. That's what I was going to say. And yet, somehow, I'm actually alive. Do I want to die now? Well, no. But how many people are alive? What did these things want? Why did they attack us? There's too many questions to even ask right now. At this point, all we can do is try to figure out some numbers and restart society. How can a world like ours recover from something like this? How long until society is normal again? Will humanity ever Me the same? I don't know. What I do know is that I could lost everything. I will text my friends and family and come back with some numbers. Emergency alert. This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. We have reported a little over 1 billion people accounted for. Not every country has the technology, so we will investigate those countries in the coming months. We do not understand what these creatures wanted, nor what they have taken. In the next month or two, we will be figuring out the next steps for humanity. May God help us all. Only 3 people I know survived: my sister, my uncle, and my best friend. Everyone else is dead. I want to kill myself, but at the same time, humanity needs me. We need each other to continue human life. Only time will tell what to do next, if there is anything next. Edit. It's 2 weeks later. The guilt is too much. I'm a fucking coward. Goodbye.